Hey everyone, Crystal Gamer coming at you here with a Sims 4 speed build. This is my first build for this channel, my first video for this channel, so thanks for watching, and I hope that you like the content. So this build is called the Artist's Rotunda, and the sim that I have living here, because I make up stories for my sims, they all have stories that go with them, even though I don't really play the game very often, actually, as, you know, playing with the sims themselves. I'm more of a builder and designer. I mean, I play now and then, but I definitely spend more hours building and designing for sure. But in any case, I make up stories for the sims that live in my homes. And so this one, he is an architect, and he's also a sculptor and an artist. So he's a very artistic type. So in my imaginings, he has designed this home, and as a famous architect, this is, you know, it's a highly revered thing and all this. And so, at least that's what I'm going for. And in reality, the design itself is actually not that hard. It's actually a pretty simple design, but I think it looks really cool. And I think it looks really cool for the couple of elements that were actually what inspired the design. And one is the roof element that you see there. That square piece at the top, that I saw that while I was doing another build, and I knew that I wanted to use it. I just didn't know exactly how I wanted to use it. And the same thing for the windows that you see me putting in here now. I felt that those were really artistic windows. I really, really like them. They're just really unique and different, and they add a really nice artistic element to a design to me. So I wanted to use both of those elements. I didn't know that I was going to use them together, but they were both elements that I had seen in the game that I wanted to somehow incorporate in a build. So, you know, one day I'm just hanging out on my couch, whatever, not doing anything important, and this design just came to me. I don't even know how it came to me, but it did. And this is one of the few times where the entire structure was in my head before I started building. And that's really unusual for me. I don't know how other builders go about doing things, or how they come up with their designs or inspiration. I would be really interested, if you're a builder, you know, how do you come up with your ideas and your inspiration? For me, it varies so much. And a lot of times it will be just a specific piece in the game. And the other thing, not only how do you come up with your inspiration, but do you have the whole thing in your head before you start? A lot of times, since my ideas and my inspiration will sometimes be based on one or two elements, or maybe sometime a certain type of house, like if I want to do a Victorian or something like that, you know. So because of that, I don't necessarily have the whole design in my head before I start. It's unusual. This was an unusual build for me, in having the whole structure in my head before I started. And you're going to see a secondary structure right now. Yep, that's going up. This is, so the guy that lives here, he is, like I said, he's an architect. He designed the house, and he's also a sculptor and a painter. So I needed space for all of those things that he's involved in. And so this back structure is his workshop. It's where he does his sculpting and all of that. And also, you'll see as we go on that once I start furnishing that room ends up kind of being his kind of man cave is what that ends up being. It ends up being kind of a cool little spot for him. And then I have his artist's abode. What I'm referring to as his artist's abode ends up being on that third tier of the main building, and that's where he has his easel and his canvases and all of that stuff. And so we'll see that soon. On this here, you know, I'm developing all of this, and at this point, I really wasn't sure what I was doing for the roof yet, but you can see that back porch. I just have railings around it right now on the second floor, and I decide later on that the inspiration piece for this entire build was that square roof piece, really. And so I decide that I really need to make more use of that. And I end up incorporating that in other places later on. I end up with with that piece over that back porch, and I end up using it. I use a double version of it rotated up at the top of the workshop for a roof decor item there as well. So I do incorporate, and I use it out front too. So I do incorporate that, the inspiration element a little bit more in the build. I felt that I should, since it was what really inspired the whole thing. I felt that I should use it a little bit more. And obviously the windows, those awesome artistic windows, they get put pretty much kind of everywhere. And so I had both of those structures in mind when I first started, and the bridge in the back, the bridge that I already did that runs between the two. It looks like a path when you start, but I put the water around it, and then in my head it becomes a bridge anyway. I know Sims won't let us put water under things, but you know, in my head it's a bridge over some water that's over there. And now I'm working on the upstairs bathroom. And on the second floor, I have the master bedroom and master bathroom. And that's pretty much all that's on the second floor. The entire floor is devoted to those two rooms. You know, everything's going great. Life is good. I'm happy. I've got this great bathroom going in. I love the way this is actually working out with the funny angles on the house because of the tub. That jetted tub fits in that nice little angular spot perfectly. And so life is good. I'm happy. And we're moving on. And the only problem is this whole thing. I'm setting up the second floor bathroom, and I'm doing this around where the stairs go, from the first floor to the second floor, and then the second floor to the third floor. And so that's fine. And then the third floor is going to be, like I said, his area with his easels and all this. But see, the thing is, I had this idea in mind that he would have a specific view for his artistry, because this property is in a good location, and it's got some really nice vistas. And in my imaginings, he is a landscape artist. That's what he paints, is landscapes. So he wants this inspiring vista. And so I get this whole bathroom and all of this done here on the second floor, and I have the ladder and everything going up. And at some point I figure out that the spot where his easel goes is not the right spot, because it's not the vista that I wanted. His view is all wrong. And so one would think, oh, well, just, move the easel. No big deal. You can just move the easel, right? No. That's not the way it can happen, because of the stairway. The stairs are where the easel is supposed to go. So yeah, that totally can't work. So for a moment, I get excited about Sim 4's new move room and rotate room feature. And I'm thinking, yes, this is awesome. I can move the rooms. I can rotate the rooms. And, this won't be a problem really. Except for the fact that when I do that, now the stairway is falling outside of the artist's rotunda on the third floor. So unfortunately, yeah, not so much. That move and rotate room tool. Yeah, that's great. I love that feature. I actually, I don't know how many other builders get use out of it, but I use that now and then. But it didn't work for this. I had to actually redo the bathroom and all of that. And the stairs going from the multiple levels. So I still have the second bathroom that I copied sitting out next to the property. I'll delete that in a few minutes. But, yeah, so that was a fun little redo. Sometimes you got to do it. And of course I do it just so the guy can have a view, a guy that's not going to live here, because I don't even really play. Although this house, I actually might play this house. This is a playable house, unlike some of my other builds that are totally not playable at all. I build these monstrosity, big, huge things. I do things with restaurants, and I did a sorority house with a gazillion bedrooms, and just things that you would not actually, or at least I don't think most people would play. Not, buildings where gameplay is not really kept in mind. When I actually play the game, my builds are different because gameplay is different to me. But this house I could live in. I could play this particular build, and it wouldn't be too much of a problem. It's got all the elements you need, and they're not spaced so terrible far apart like on some of my other really huge builds. This is things are within reasonable walking distance, which when I'm actually playing the game, I consider that important, because a sim can spend a lot of time walking from place to place and waste a lot of time in my view. So I like things a little bit more close together when I'm actually playing the game. I do more spacious builds when they're just for design purposes. But yeah, this one you could play without too much difficulty. I think it would be a good one. And I may play it at some point just because I like it so much. And so we have the artist's abode going in up top here. And I think now, I believe that I've already done the rotation on the bathroom and the second floor. So he has the appropriate vista for upstairs now. And I love this turquoise color that I ended up using throughout the bedroom and the bathroom with the rich brown. It really works really well with the white and the brown trim throughout the house. I don't know. I just really like it. I do wish we had more color capability, though. They've come out with some good features in Sims 4, like the room rotating thing. The house moving thing is particularly awesome, because I don't know about you guys, but anytime I'm building a structure, I almost always end up wanting to move that structure. Like I'll decide that, I don't have enough front yard space, or I need more backyard space, or something like that. And I end up moving the structure around. This one, I don't know if you noticed at the beginning, I moved it around 2 or 3 times. So I love that we can move the whole house around the property, and that's a fabulous add. But the one thing that they took away from Sims 3 to Sims 2 that, oh God, I think all of us that are builders and designers, we hate it, is the color picker. We used to have this color picker utility. You could match anything with anything else practically. And now that's not the case. Unfortunately, now we have limited color swatches, and it's really limiting in certain areas, like especially in beds and sofas and God, curtains and draperies. I can never get curtains and draperies to match what I want. Half the time I just skip them because I get so annoyed there isn't enough of a selection, and the colors are not enough. So I keep wishing and hoping that the game creators are going to give us a color picker again. Game's been out for a while though, and they haven't yet. So I don't know. My fingers are still crossed, but I'm kind of losing hope just because of how long the game's been out. So here I'm doing this nice little front area, and I end up with almost this heart thing. And then later on, I add in a fountain feature in the front that I end up really, really loving. But I think we go inside. Oh, there I'm doing that roof element on the back. Yep, I was right. We go inside. I start furnishing the interior for a bit, and then I end up coming back to the exterior. And I end up with this dining room. I really like this dining room a lot. I love the color scheme on it. It's very symmetrical, though we're dealing with interesting angles. There's a lot of symmetry to the furniture pieces and everything. And I love how well it matches up with this kitchen. So the color of the kitchen was the easy part, but I ended up taking out some footage on this part because the kitchen is one of those rooms that I redid, 3 or 4 times. And interestingly enough, I ended up with pretty much almost the same exact design that I first started with. Yeah, because that happens. But, sometimes you have to try. You have to try different things. You have to experiment a little bit. And sometimes some things work and sometimes they don't. And that's okay. And so in this little front area now, I'm putting in a little coat closet and a half bath. Just like you would have in a real house. In a lot of real houses, you have a coat closet when you first come in, and you want a half bath someplace downstairs. And figuring out where I was going to put that was a little bit just interesting on this build. But I end up moving the doors. It fits in well here. Both of these elements fit in well here, but I end up having to move the doors because I have the living room going in a second, and and I need some space for the TV. And obviously my exterior is all these windows and everything. So, I wanted that wall space for the TV. But this is a pretty modern build. This couple that lives here, they've got some modern taste. And so I wanted a fairly open floor plan. I didn't want to close it down too much. So, I have no doors going from either side. When you first come in, you look to the right, you have the open dining room area, and that opens right up into the kitchen. And to the left, you have the living room area. And so there's no door, and I left the stairway open. It's not closed down over there. And you can actually see there's actually line of sight from the living room into the kitchen. So while we have some separation with the bathroom and coat closet, it's not too much. It's still a pretty open plan, which I wanted, because if we're looking at something more modern, we want it to have a little bit more of an open plan. After I get this living room in, though, I end up with this office area, and there was some debate in my own head. I had some debate. Do I want to close it up? Do I want to open it? Leave it open to the living room? And I end up a lot of times with my builds, how I do them is based a little bit on the personalities that I assign to the people living here. And so because this guy is an architect here, I sort of figure he spends time on the computer, and he spends time like working AutoCAD and stuff like that. And so he needs to concentrate. And his wife, I have his wife as she does a computer job. I'm not sure if she does hacking or YouTubing or, whatever we want her to have. She works from home on the computer. So they both do work on these computers. And so they need some quiet when they need quiet. And so I thought having it closed up was the better choice. And also it allowed me to be able to do a different color scheme in here. And I ended up with a black and purple color scheme. This light violet on the walls and these purple accents and the desks with the purple. And I just really like the mix. I actually like it so much that I also use it in the downstairs guest bathroom. I use a very similar color scheme because I like the contrast and the way it worked so well. And speaking of, here we go to the guest bedroom. The guest bedroom was so much fun. Haha, not. This is another one where I took out a lot of footage because, I did this one. This was another thing that I did 3 or 4 times. So yeah, it was some fun. It was actually easier to set up this tiny little bathroom in this little space than it was to do the bedroom. And I think it was just because I just wasn't loving the bedroom enough. So I just kept switching it around. But there are only so many configurations that I could do. And I didn't love any of them. And so, yeah, I just moved things around a lot. And just was what it was, and it ended up being okay. But yeah, working with the interesting angles of the home definitely proved to be challenging. Fun though. Sometimes it's good to constrain yourself a little bit, right? Give yourself a little bit of a challenge. And so, yeah, working with all these angles, that was definitely a little bit of a challenge. And so right here, the thing that I'm putting in is a laundry room. So you notice I put the coat closet in downstairs. The guest bedroom has a wardrobe area, as does the upstairs. I'm so happy that Sims 4 has come out with closets, wardrobes. Thank you. That made me really, really happy because it was something that I used to add in my builds in Sims 3. Only I used to have these like empty rooms because we didn't have actual closets. And so the other thing that I add into my builds is laundry rooms. And so I've heard that we're getting a laundry stuff pack, and I'm really, really looking forward to that because that's something that we haven't had in the builds to date. And it's something that, I mean, let's face it, we all have laundry rooms. Almost every place you live has a laundry room. Even if they're rich people, they still have laundry rooms, even if they hire people to do it, or a laundry area, even if it's just a closet with a washer and a dryer, we still have something. So I'm really looking forward to the laundry stuff pack. I am hoping that they have a stacked washer and dryer along with a side-by-side option. So my fingers are crossed for those things. And that'll make my laundry rooms more realistic. Cause right now I'm using, what am I using? I'm using the dishwasher. That's what I'm using. So the dishwasher is my pretend washer and dryer. But hey, it works as a substitute, you know. We have to be creative. We have to substitute where we have to. But I am looking forward to that stuff pack. Really like the color scheme in this living room. It turns out that I really like that orange color. I don't know that I would ever have the courage to be that bold in my real life home design, but I really love it here. And that little alcove, I wasn't really 100% sure what to do with it initially, and I ended up making it just with a little massage table and massage chair rather. And it's a nice little alcove. And here I'm putting out some side stairs because that other back entrance, remember, it goes over water. So it's only got one in and out thing on that back entrance. So we needed another back entry. And also we needed another back entry into the actual utilizable backyard area, because the other exit entry only goes to the workshop. So, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. I feel like landscaping is where I struggle the most. Landscaping always seems so challenging to me. I always know, like, things fall in place in the interior. Even if I have to redo a room a couple of times, I don't mind so much if I have to redo it a couple of times. Eventually I get it. It all falls into place, you know, but the exterior always seems to be more challenging to me. But this build, I got lucky on this build because it sort of worked out the way the interior tends to work out for me, in that it just really kind of fell into place. I knew that I wanted the pool. I ended up, just because of the lot size, I ended up having to make the back structure kind of to the side, which was good anyway. It was good as a design element. You know, having it directly behind would have looked funny. I wouldn't have done that anyway. So having the workshop back there, I don't know, it just created this kind of nice frame for this yard area. And I knew I was going to put in a pool. And this just came as an automatic thing. The thing that I'm doing here now with the trash barrels, that just came as kind of an automatic, you know, it's another one of those things that we have. Everyone has them. And I thought creating that this house would have like an area where they would be a little bit hidden away, not so out in plain sight. And so that little area for the trash bins really works for me. And I end up putting some gardening tools and stuff back there. And then in short order, I create a path. So from this back area to the front, because you would want it, number one, just for any reason, but also because of those trash bins, you wouldn't want to have to drag those back and forth through the grass. You would want some way to easily take them back and forth every week. And so we're going to have a path go in there in a second, leading from the front to the back. And I wanted, you know, I like that exit coming off the kitchen too, because that would probably be the area you would most likely have the exit. And it, you know, it's convenient for taking the trash and recycling out and all of that. And now I'm putting in a little bit of an awning feature here. I love those little awnings. I kind of wanted to create a full-blown, like, sort of pergola type thing here. But at this point, I did not know, when I did this build, I did not yet know how to create a pergola. But big shout out to Deligracy, because I was watching one of her speed builds one day. I like watching other people's speed builds too, you know, and she's got a lot of good ones out there. And so I was watching one of hers one day, and I'd been wanting to create a pergola for so long, and I had done it other ways. I used like the kids' jungle gym one time, and you know, you find different ways to do things. But lo and behold, I'm watching one of her speed builds one day, and up goes a pergola, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's awesome! How is she doing that?" So, you know, right away, pause, rewind. Saw what she was using to do it. And so it's so easy, actually. She uses a fence piece to do it on the second story. And it's actually very easy to create. And so brilliant. So I've incorporated it into another build that I have that I'll end up publishing eventually too. It's not quite done, that build. Got to work on the outside some more. But it's almost done. It's a huge build, much bigger than this one. That fence tool that I just put all around that yard is actually the tool that she uses for the pergolas. So really neat idea. Yeah, sometimes watching other people's speed builds, you get different ideas, or you'll have something like that, like something that you want to do or that you've been wanting to do for a while and you haven't figured out a good way to do it in the game yet. And, lo and behold, you're watching someone else and there they go with it. And you're like, yes, I've been wanting to do that, and they basically show you how, and it's a really great thing. It's a great community in that respect, And so now I'm creating this water feature out front. Man, I really love the fountains in this game. I so love the fountains. So I use several of them here, and I basically do a design with them, where some are going higher, some are going lower. And in short order, we see a clip. I actually slowed the video down for when I do the test on the waterfalls, because not the waterfalls, the water feature right here. Yes. Love this. Love this. Love this. Love this. Such a cool feature. I would love to have that in front of my house. And I love that they're at different heights. I love that the game's allowing us to do that. It's a great add-on. So yeah, you see there's many good things. It's just the color swatches. I want the color swatches. And water to be able to go under bridges. That would be a cool add, but not as necessary as color swatches. I know everyone's got to still be wanting that. Putting in a little bit of vegetation over here, doing it in the dark. Don't know why. I turned on the lights in a minute. There we go. I decided working in the dark wasn't so much fun. But yeah, so the landscaping just came on this one, which is unusual, but I was really happy for it. It's just, it's an easy structure, and it didn't require too much. At least to me, it didn't require too terribly much out front for landscaping. You really want, the pièce de résistance is the waterfall, or the fountains in the front. I keep saying waterfall. The fountains in the front, that's really where you want the attention. And she's got her nice little garden in the back. And he's got his, what's going to end up being a man cave. You'll see with everything that I end up putting in there. I do cut out of the build, or of the video, I don't show all the detailing, just because it was going to add an additional 10 minutes onto the video. And I didn't really feel that was necessary for a speed build. I didn't want it to go too long, but I detail his workshop up pretty nice. It ends up being a man cave with, he's got a punching bag in there. He's got a little TV set, a radio, a dartboard. So yeah, he ends up with several things in addition to his actual workbench area, which it worked out nicely, because I was afraid on this room. Not afraid. I was hesitant, because it's not a really, really large room, and it is all angles, so how do you furnish a room like this, so an interesting little challenge. Oh, and the ballerina. I have a story for the ballerina. He has sculpted the ballerina for his wife because she's very into watching the ballet. She likes to go to the ballet and watch the ballet. And so he made that ballerina for his wife, and it's sitting over there waiting to be gifted to her. She doesn't know about it yet, so it's coming. Christmas is soon, so that's going to be her Christmas present. And there was the dartboard that just went in. So yeah, I end up actually really liking that room. Go outside for a minute, add a few little elements, because you have to have a grill and a little place to eat, right? And then I go into some finishing touches, but I don't stay here too long, because like I say, it was just going to add too long onto the time for the video. And I really thought that, we should probably get into the screenshots and wrap it up. Oh, and that's right. I was testing the waterfalls, and I was surprised to see someone made an achievement. So somewhere along the line, some Sims moved in. I'm not exactly sure when that happened, but yeah, we ended up with some squatters. We have some squatters in the house. But, I said, well, I'll let them live here because I'm almost done with the build anyway. And I just had decoration left to do. So I figured I could work around them and just let them stay and hang out. And speaking of, there we go off into screenshots. Oh, and man, I hope that you guys like this place even a tiny bit as much as I do. And I hope you come back and hang out with me for future builds as well. I'm definitely going to be posting more builds. I have included a lot of screenshots here. If there are too many and you guys don't like that, let me know. I've included a lot because I like screenshots. They're among my favorite things, my favorite parts when people are doing speed builds. I love looking at the screenshots at the end, and I'll often pause during the screenshot period and kind of really take close looks because you can only see so much during the speed build, So if it's too much, let me know. And if not, let me know that too. And speaking of screenshots, you will see one that is a vista. I included the artist's vista so that you could see why I went through all the trouble of rotating all the rooms and redoing the upstairs bathroom and all of that to get the easel in the right spot. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. So until next time, take care and happy gaming.